Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday. Jeffrey Combs. Welcome to Tuesday Facebook Live. Hearing what is meant. This is a topic I've covered many times over my 25-year career. Today is the anniversary of many speaking dates. In 2015, I was in Chicago, Illinois, to a full house event of 160 people. I was looking through memories. Kelly Soto, good to see you this afternoon. Kelly, back in the day, remember how many events of mine you attended? I know you came to Breakthroughs to Success, Protege, and multiple events, Kelly. You saw me speak in the East Coast, in New York and New Jersey. Scott Lucas, you saw me several times speak in the East Coast. Paige, good to see you this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Breathe, release, and let go. I was looking through the memories today. I often look through memories and it'll show like where I was speaking this day 10 years ago. So 10 years, it was 2015, I was in Chicago. Don Ferrantino and Cindy Walter were two of the hosts back in the day, two of my clients that I coached for many years. Today's topic is hearing what is meant. This is an auditory skill. You hear what is meant. So this is what's said. This is how you hear what is meant. Well, let me get back to you. I hear this frequently. I'm going to hire you, but I hear it every single day of my coaching career. I know what that means. And the more that you understand what someone means, as well as what they say. So if you are new to sales, branding, marketing, closing, owning your own business, it can be disappointing, frustrating. You can feel rejected, violated, traumatized, and then the proverbial ghosted, gaslighted by a prospect, when in reality, the prospect wasn't interested. It's the same situation in dating. You want to hear what is meant along with what is said. And if you have auditory skills, if you are listening, you can hear what is meant. Is a sound. Well, a preposition. Well, a story will be following. Yeah, but is another situation you want to be able to hear. You want to hear people's indecision, non-commitments. So especially in the dating world and also in selling, you want to hear what is meant. You want to be able to hear that people's abandonment issues, their inability to commit, their pathological lying when they're speaking to you. They're telling you what you want to hear. They're people pleasers. They can't make commitments and decisions. It's your responsibility to hear that. Being a skilled listener also requires you to be in the conversation. It means you're attentive. You have an attention to details. Being a listener is an auditory skill. Now, your auditory skill will be hampered and hindered by your inability to be present. So if you're checked out, overwhelmed, anxious about the outcome that hasn't happened, if you're worried about making mistakes, getting in trouble, you'll be ahead of the conversation, missing what is meant, and then you'll hear what is said. If you're distracted, if you're talking to your children when someone's talking to you, or if you take interruptions when you're talking to someone, you'll also miss what's going on. If you take interruptions when you should be attentively listening, you also the other person can lose respect for you because of how overwhelmed you are. The more that you're in the conversation, the more that you're here, the more that you're present, the more that you are now, you will hear what is meant. Listening is a skill. It's a very undeveloped skill. There's very little writing content on it. There's very little knowledge about listening. I consider myself a master listener. I've been edifying that for well over 30 plus years. I'm an attention to detail person. I'm methodical, systemized, organized. I have great auditory skills. That's what I tell myself. And because that's what I tell myself, that is my belief. And when you believe what you believe, you'll attract more people who believe what you believe, because your belief is a high energetic sense of consciousness. This book right here, Transcending Levels of Consciousness. I was covering this book last night on my Facebook Live. There's a great chapter in here that I highly recommend that all of you read. It will also assist you to understand what the skill of listening. And right here it is. The physiology of truth. So this will break down for you right here. The physiology of truth. This lets you know what happens to your body and your mind-body connection as you're living in high belief, as you understand the truth, as you understand what goes on behind the veil, especially in today's world. So when mainstream media sends this out, you want to be able to hear what really is happening. When you hear of this next world war, when you hear this next catastrophe, this next tragedy, what is really being said? What is meant? Now, there are many of us who no longer listen to any of that because we know we hear what is meant along with what is said. Propaganda, trauma-based mind control, pathological lying, seduction, seducing, the art of persuasion. That's a lot of that is going on to get us to stand in the line for the red pill and blue pill and all of the other situations that we've encountered over the last 50 to 100 plus years, but specifically going into the last 4 years. It's been head-swiveling times. That's why it's important that you have the ability to articulate what's said and meant. You're intuitive and you're able to hear what's happening along with know what's happening. And then you're in a relaxed body, giving you the opportunity to be flexible so you can adapt and adjust to the situation at hand so that you can move in flow rather than be in fight or flight. It'll allow you to move out of procrastination and avoidance into higher states of consciousness. So this is my syllabus for today's Facebook Live right here. I send this out an email. It's also I send it on Facebook on Mondays before the Tuesdays. Now let's look at this right here. Why most people are not good listeners. We are not good listeners. We tend to not be good listeners because we are checked out. Most of society is overwhelmed, overweight, in high anxiety, fear, and doubt, worried about a future that hasn't happened. If that is not you, then you are the law of the few. Only a few people are master listeners. Only a few people are highly attentive. Only a few people are organized, detailed, have a structure, a method, and a routine. And if that is you, congratulations. That means that you're a lot more present. To be a skilled listener is to be in the conversation. On all of the old school CD sets that I produced, Psychology of Prospecting, 1998, Psychology of Closing, 2003, and Psychology of Asking, 2008, listening was always covered in all of that content because it's an inner ear skill, inner ear. And so if you're skilled at listening, you're actually leaning into the conversation. And so that means that you are mastering the skill of listening. Most people are not skilled listeners because they started checking out as children. They started avoiding the criticism that they heard. They also only hear criticism. They don't hear compliments. Have you ever complimented someone and it just went over their head? They didn't even receive it. It was so foreign to them that they didn't even thank you for the compliment because they were not listening. They didn't hear it. It's not music to their ears. That's foreign content to most of the world. This is why they don't respond to you when you compliment them, because it's not what they're expecting. I've actually pointed it out to people when I've complimented them before. Did you hear that I offered you a genuine compliment? I'm sorry. And so that now they're once again on the defense. They didn't even hear the compliment. This is so common that it is common. Another main reason that people don't listen is because they're ahead of themselves. They're in anxiety, fear, and doubt about the future that hasn't happened. They're not in the conversation. Many people hear what they want to hear. And so they overhear what someone says. They create an expectation, and someone will say, I'm interested, and then the person listening thinks, oh, this is a buyer. And then they set themselves up to be disappointed because they didn't hear the person was telling them they weren't interested. They misread that, and then they follow up with this person, then they end up disappointed, and they feel rejected and gaslighted. And I will say to people, the person didn't buy from you because they weren't interested. You didn't hear that. Yeah, this sounds really good. Y-E-A-H. This sounds really good. So that's a common setup that people will say to you. Have you ever heard people say, it's fine in the front of a sentence? It's fine. It's fine. It's I-T-S-F-I-N-E. What does that mean? It means that it's not fine, and they're using it's fine to justify that it's not fine, and then they'll go ahead and say what they want to say. It's fine, but. And so then that's a very common tell. And when you're a listener, you will understand the tells. T-E-L-L-S. It stands for telegraph. You'll hear the telegraphs in communication. A woman said to me recently, I'm definitely going to hire you. And I said, when? And she said, near the end of November. And I asked her, is it possible for you to hire me today? And she said, let me check my finances. Let me check it's a common term. If they're using credit cards, they're not saying, let me check my credit card. Finance is a common term the person will use to blow you off, and then they're going to get back to you. I had someone recently say to me, I'm going to hire you, but let me talk to my husband. And I said, I appreciate that. So which one are you doing? Are you going to hire me or talk to your husband? She said, my husband's aware of this. I can get right back to you. And she did, with a picture of her husband who stepped on a nail, and they were on their way to ER. She actually sent me a picture of the nail. This was a few years ago, of her husband who stepped on a nail. She showed me the bottom of his foot. This is too much information. Shows me the bottom of his foot and never got back to me. I mean, these situations happen, and I heard exactly what she meant when she said what she said, and this is what you'll start to understand when you are a master listener. As you become a master listener, it's also a component of being a master connector. Because if you listen, you understand who's qualified to be in a conversation for you. If you're building a house or rehabbing houses or commercial property or residential property, you want to listen to how contractors talk to you. Yeah, I'll do my best to get out there at the end of the week. Well, what the fuck does that mean? It means nothing is what it means. So what I learned with most general contractors, not all, but generally speaking, in a consensus of, I've been rehabbing houses for 25 plus years. So in all the rehabs I've done, Monday often means Friday. Friday means Monday. Monday could mean Wednesday. Wednesday could mean Friday. It could mean nothing. So I learned to ask contractors, Fred, that was one of my general contractors, who I did a lot of business with. However, the older he got, the older he became, and I've done business with him for 20 years, the more non-committal he became. He also started having issues with the shakes and other alcoholic issues. And the last time I did business with him, it was interesting. His right-hand door, the rubber molding was off the right-hand door, hanging below the door. Also, when he opened the sliding door to his van, it was an oh my God moment. It looked like a tornado had gone through there, and that's a direct reflection of his neurological network of neurons that operate in fight or flight. And you will find this is so common in the contracting world that they overpromise, undercommit, and underdeliver. Now, once again, this is me being a skilled real estate investor. Now, I'm not a novice at this. I just did a $425,000 rehab with my wife 2 years ago. I've rehabbed my home over $500,000, and have had a commercial property that I did over $500,000 rehab. Lots of concrete, multiple contractors on multiple projects, heating and air conditioning, roofing, I'm very skilled at asking the qualifying questions and the commitment questions. When can you be on my property? When will you have that contract to me? When can you start the project? Can you give me a set date that you can be on my property? So once again, these are closing questions, trial closing questions. It's your responsibility to listen to what is meant along with what is said. I had a former client contact me yesterday, an exceptional man that I coached. I met him in the 2000s, came to one of my events in Las Vegas, hired me on the spot, hired me again in 2013, and hired me yesterday in 3 minutes. I mean, he was RTB, ready to buy. And these are people, their communication style is short. When I am looking for talent, I am looking for people who have a short communication style. Here's some key components in listening. The people that I'm looking for, that I want to do projects with me, be my clients, join my teams, join my businesses, be my employees, their communication style is short. They are not addicted to storytellers. They answer the question, that's right, Kira, in 15 words or less. It means they have the skill to answer a question with commitment, consciousness. They're able to commit, follow through. These are also characteristics that you are looking for. When you're looking for talent and you ask people questions, watch the people go, and they tell you a story, typically unrelated. And I've asked thousands of questions. Now, in my coaching business, people let me know they're interested. Then I'll ask them, when are you going to hire me? I will hire you in June. And I said, well, today's June 1st. Can you do it? Oh, well, let me get back to you. I'll do it at the end of the month. Well, and then the term tomorrow never comes. Now, there are people who do follow through. That is called the law of the few. There are a few people who actually mean what they say, and you can typically tell because they're more graphic, more descriptive in a short sentence about when they will get back to you. But when someone gives you a loose interpretation of when they're going to get back to you, and it's not really defined, you can tell that they're telling you what you want to hear. It's your responsibility to hear that. You are hearing what is meant along with what is said. The fortune is not in the follow-up. The fortune is in the close. The fortune's in asking the questions. The fortune is hearing what's meant, not said, and then you determining what is going to be best for you in your business ventures, your life, and situation. So in dating, it's important that you learn this if you're single and you're in the dating world. And it also means, just like in prospecting, it's important that you're able to prospect effectively, qualify yourself with the mate, date, or whoever it is. In any sales business, it's important you qualify the buyer for your products, services, benefits, and features. If you're selling real estate, you want to find out if you have a qualified buyer. Do they have the credit? Do they have a credit score? Can they have cash? Can they purchase the home? Yeah, well, we're just looking. Well, that is a waste of my time. And so you're not looking for someone who's looking, you're looking for someone who is committed, a committed buyer. And this is why it's so important to let go of your people-pleasing tendencies, your codependent tendencies. Hear what's meant and not said. Many people look for the good in people, which isn't a good character trait at times. However, a lot is overlooked in looking for the good in people and trusting people to their word when their word isn't really their law. It's your responsibility to, once again, hear what is meant, not what is said. One of the points on the syllabus that I have today is focused listening. That means you're in the conversation. You're skilled at hearing what is meant. Hearing what is meant also is a trust issue. You trust yourself intuitively to hear what's meant. If you live in doubt, anxiety, and fear, you will doubt what you heard. You will doubt what happened. And then you'll stay in the same loop of avoiding, procrastinating, processing, analyzing, doing the same thing over and over. You also look for buy signals. A buy signal. When someone gives you a buy signal, it gives you the opportunity to ask for the commitment. It gives you the opportunity to ask for the order. You can ask for more business. You can ask for a referral. Is there anyone in your team that you know that you could refer me to that could receive the value of my coaching? Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. Do I know what that meant? So, are you in a position to buy today? I'm not, but I will be one day. Oh my God, John Dunham. John Dunham was one of my just joined me. John, good to see you. John was one of my very first clients in my first year of coaching over the 1998-1999 timeframe. John, good to see you this afternoon. Honored to have been your coach, John, 25 years ago. I remember many conversations with John. I am a skilled listener. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Great to connect with you this afternoon. If you are new to my content and have not accessed a free 20-minute coaching call, feel free to reach out and feel free to reach out and send me a message. If you were one of the many clients who started refollowing me, and it's amazing how many clients from 10 years ago and 20 years ago have hired me in the last 2 years. It's an honor to coach so many clients from back in the day. John, honored to be your coach. We go back all the way to the GPG days, back in the day. So, and the travel dynamics days, John, back in the day. So good afternoon, everyone. John Collins, great coaching this afternoon. Beverly, good to see you this afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Goodbye.